Today I'm speaking to Watu Kobese, who is an international chess master, who will be talking to us about the benefits of chess in terms of teaching children about mathematics and just helping them to do better at school. Hello, Watu. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Vicky. Thank you for having me. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to talk to you. I thought we could perhaps start by talking a bit more about you and how you got into chess.
I started playing when I was 4 and my father taught me. Then I started playing competitively from the age of 5. I've won many events. I've won the SA Open Championship, SA Closed Championship a number of times. I've also won the African Championship in 2001. I hold the title of International Master. Basically, it's one title less than Grand Master, which is the highest level. So that is the competitive side. I mean, I've played professionally for more than 30 years. Played all over the world, but I also have ventured into the coaching side of things. I am, a FIDE coach, and I also started, teaching, sort of, because understanding the benefits that one can have from chess. And so I've been playing, but I've also been teaching a lot, and that is what I'm doing at the moment. So it's a passion, really. That's basically that.
So, I mean, you've been playing for a long time if you started at the age of 4, which is crazy to think. Throughout your life, what do you think, how has chess benefited you? And why do you think other people should learn to play chess?
I think that, chess, there are many benefits that you get from chess. It's a mind game. You are really, the body is really merely an expression of what you are thinking in your mind. And so what actually happens is that you get to train all your mental faculties, your concentration, your visualization. Problem solving is also a big part of what you learn. But more than anything, I think that if you teach chess to a young kid of, let's say, 6 or 7, there are many benefits and concepts that they will immediately learn. I will make an example of this. If we're to look at a chessboard, so this would be, the first thing you would learn, so to speak, in chess. And you would see that the chessboard has 8 sort of lines marked as A up to H, and other lines marked 1 to 8. So those are, if you were to imagine in mathematics, the Cartesian plane, we would be having 2 lines that would be going like that, right? And we would have this as our x-axis and that as our y-axis, right? So that this Cartesian plane, you would use mathematics and physics in many different map reading, basically it's a very important tool to master. And how you name the coordinates, it's exactly the same as we would in chess. So for example, we start with the alphabets. So for an example, this square over here, we would start with C. We would say it's C3. So we are joining the C file and the 3rd rank. So in mathematics, you would think that we would be calling the 2 coordinates, the y coordinate and the x coordinate. And for example, a diagonal in chess would be, if you take 2 squares, let's say we take this square, which is A1, and we link it up with the other square, which is H8, which would be over there. So we're talking about two coordinates here. And then this diagonal in chess, we name A1 to H8 diagonal, or we name it H8 to A1 diagonal. And that is actually the equation of a straight line, but you would be doing this, you'd be teaching this concept to a young kid, and they would just be sort of seeing it as a game, and they wouldn't even know that they are actually learning. They would just think, okay, I'm learning chess and I'm learning the basics. But so that is where my actual motivation comes in, because what we have been doing in the past, we've only been looking at chess as a sport, and everyone will say, okay, well, this is chess, and if you want to take it further, do this and that and play the competitions. But you can actually look at chess as an aid for education, where you are showing with the intention, understanding that, okay, I'm going to take chess, but the main intention is not necessarily to produce a champion chess player, but to produce somebody who knows how to play, but who can then understand that these concepts that they are learning from chess, they can use for outside chess,
Yeah.
So that is the main motivation, and I think that that's what encourages me to teach more and more people chess. Yeah.
You touched briefly on the benefits of chess for children. So can you go into a bit more detail? If a parent allows their child to learn chess, what benefits can they expect?
Well, you see, the chess is a game that takes many concepts. I think in order for me to explain that, I will go to another example. Let us, for an example, say you are not so good with language, and you are then encouraged, to sort of debate, to be a member of the debating team. Now, when you are debating, what is it that you are going to be doing? You're going to be competitive. You'll be competing in a fun way, but to get yourself ready, you are going to have to learn certain language words. You're going to have to, know the meaning of languages. You're going to have to learn to think on your feet and argue and so on. So I think that, that is precisely what would be happening with chess, because first and foremost, I showed you the board, and the board is more like a Cartesian plane. Number two, the pieces themselves have got value. You've got a piece that is worth 5 points, a piece that is worth 3 points, a piece that is worth 9 points, a piece that is worth a point, and so on and so on, and you've got all these pieces. And when you are calculating as the pieces exchange, remember, before you exchange the pieces, you have to think, if I go there, that piece will take me and I will take back, right? And you are already having to calculate using mathematics in order for you to see who's up, who's down. But it's not just a question of mathematical value. It's also a question of strength. Sometimes the value itself is not absolute. The same way as in life, you would understand that the value is not absolute. So at some point you may trade a piece that is worth 5 points with a piece that is worth 1 point for certain benefits, right? So now you are starting to understand, you're getting the kid to understand the value and understanding the changing in value, so later on, you'd find that a piece may be, for an example, let's say a bishop in chess. There may be a bishop which is worth more than the other bishop, for the mere reason of where the bishop is, or where the pawn structures, like the structure of the other pieces means that this bishop has more value, will do more than the other bishop. So if I wanted to trade this bishop for the other bishop, that you would have in chess to understand the value of that. That this actually shows you, with things that are in the world dynamic, if you think about currency, why a certain, you would have differences in currencies, for an example, and all these factors, you would be in a position to better understand it. That, it's not just one and one. There are other factors that are involved in the one, So, and that was just, for example, in the mathematical side, but then comes the logical side, the idea of solving problems and understanding that when you are solving a problem, there is a method that you have to introduce. And we learn this, for example, in mathematics. Let's say we want a value that we don't know, where we have values that we know and the value we don't know. So we put the value that we know on one side and the value that we don't know on the other side, right? And then we will find out what the value in comparison with the other values is, right? So that, you would then also sort of try to solve in chess, but not necessarily in a raw mathematical way. In that way, you would be trying to figure out how you can do something, but there will be a specific thought process that you have to go through. You have to also look at the knowns and the unknowns. You have to say to yourself, what is it that I know about this position? I know I can do this, I know I can do that. So you have to look at the absolutes. We've got sort of knowns, well, at a higher level in chess, which is called, strategy. You know that in such a given position, this and that is capable of doing this, So these are the things you would be using to find the knowns, and you would then be using them to find the unknown, which would be, how should I proceed with my strategy? So it's how to formulate a strategy, but it's also how to solve a problem. And there are many methods we learn in chess, solving a problem backwards, process of elimination, all of these problem solving ideas you are going to be learning, you are going to be learning in chess. And then the other benefit that you're going to have in chess is the question of concentration. You will improve your concentration because, well, if you do not improve your concentration and pay attention, you will lose game after game after game. That is clear. So in order for you to be competent, you are going to have to concentrate. But what does that mean? It means the information that has happened before, you're going to have to be aware of. And you're going to have to be aware of the information that is constantly changing. As your opponent plays a specific move, what does this mean in relation to what I've seen before, right? And what do I want to do? And all of this information you have to piece together and be able to balance. And so a kid learns this at a very young age in order for them to be competitive. And it is a very, very powerful tool, There are others, of course, visualization, where you have to calculate, because in chess, when you are calculating forward, you are obviously reaching a situation where some pieces will have been exchanged. They will no longer be in the position they are on. But how do you do that? Well, what you have to do, you basically almost have to take a photograph of the position, a mental photograph, and then you have to visualize and you have to imagine the pieces moving. And you have to visualize the end result. So, what does this mean? This obviously teaches you a very important, principle that you can apply in life, that you are saying, well, I know what I want to do, but maybe I need to calculate further and say, having done that, what are what could happen? Exactly, and you'd have to go into it. And so I think that that would be of benefit to a learner who would take up chess.
Yeah. No, I have no doubt, because all of those skills are extremely important for school-going children. So yeah, they're definitely all extremely important. So do you have any specific examples of how you've seen chess benefit some of the kids that you've worked with?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I've been involved in a number of projects, throughout my coaching life. And there was one very extremely powerful one. We actually we worked with MTN at one stage, and we went, it was in Gauteng, we went to a school called Sizwe, and it was a high school, and they actually had a difficult metric year, the year before. So we went there and we taught the whole school how to play chess, and we were very much involved with the matriculants as well. And so but then what actually happened afterwards, they would stay after school and they would play against each other. But as they were playing, they would, do their homework. Because what we introduced, in chess is also literature. You introduce literature that in order for you to improve, you have to look at this and that. There are various sites that you can go to. You have to read up a little bit. You have to do some bit of research in order for you to improve yourself. And we found out that there was a really big impact on the educational side of things. And we actually even had one learner who got 100% in mathematics, but it was standard grade then. Yeah, of course, and I'm not claiming that it was only chess, but basically it opens the door. It opens the door to it's an attitude. It is more than anything an attitude. It's like the many different experiments and arguments by many various experts that says, the Asian kids are leading kids when it comes to mathematics because of the attitude that the society has to not only mathematics, but they were finding out that it's just in paying attention, and they were saying that in those communities, a lot of them, for example, they would grow rice, and the whole process of how to grow rice is it's a process that is you have to be careful, you have to look back, you have to be really paying attention to a number of things, and that has rubbed off to the general ability. And they were even going further and saying, so I'm still answering the question, where I'm saying such an attitude, where they were actually saying that they made a questionnaire which had nothing to do with mathematics, but this questionnaire had so many questions that needed to be answered. It was around 100 and something, and they were doing it in various areas around the world. And they found that in the Western countries, the kids would not even finish the questionnaire. They just wouldn't even finish it. But the kids in the Asian countries would finish the questionnaire. So it's all about the attitude that you are having, So what I'm trying to say is that is for me what chess can do for the learner. And I have seen it do this with many different learners. I mean, I teach at a school at the moment, and you can actually tell, and even some kids who at first cannot concentrate that much, that there are some problems with concentration, and then you see, once you let the chess bug, so to speak, get hold of them, then there is an outlet. There is somewhere where the kid can all of a sudden think. And the point is, it's not about thinking to try and find an answer like you would normally have at school, because at school the structure of the education is very much about question and answering. Your thinking process has to lead to some answer, right? But so chess gives you that opportunity to think without necessarily having to come up with an answer per se, because you cannot come up with an answer, because your opponent is constantly changing the situation, constantly putting problems in your path. So yeah, that is what I have noticed in terms of what chess can do with various students. But I have to mention this. The game itself it does not necessarily mean it will translate to benefits. Look, if I gave somebody a chessboard and say, well, this is how you move the chessboard and play, the person will be playing chess. They can play chess every day of their lives, but that is moving plastic. It's a game. You understand what I mean? There's a difference. They would be playing the game and they might even start playing well, and they might even go to chess tournaments and they might do well in chess tournaments. But that has nothing to do with necessarily how they would be able to transform themselves. It has to be something that you show the student that right now you have to say to the student, we are working on logic right now. And once we're working on logic, you have to say, the student has to understand, if I can solve this, I am able to solve any other logical problem, because I will take the steps. First, I will see, what do I know about the situation? The question of asking questions and how to ask questions. This you learn in chess, that you don't, the process you need is to be able, you need to ask yourself questions, but there's a skill to this. Yeah. You cannot ask yourself questions you cannot answer. If you ask yourself questions you cannot answer, you are not moving, you're not moving forward. You need to ask yourself questions that you can answer, but small little questions. And when if you hit a brick wall, you need to be able to move around the brick wall. It's not about finding the answer. It's like what I'm saying. It's not about what is the answer to this. It's about understanding of the environment, the understanding of what I'm trying to do. And you learn the different techniques of moving around and saying, okay, in this process, I'm not doing anything. Let's try prophylactic thinking, for an example. That is something that you do a lot in chess. And you say, I'm going to do nothing. Okay, I want to find a solution. If I am doing nothing, what will happen? Right? If I stay static, what's going to happen? Okay, that is going to happen, and that is going to happen, and that is going to happen. Sometimes you might have to make preventive measures in order to move forward. And that situation is like that in life. If you're in a crisis, first you might have to just simply deal with the crisis. Make sure that you're not sliding further into a problem. So there are many ways to tackle problems, and that for me is what I've seen, that transformation in kids and people who play chess, and more importantly, the confidence. Chess gives you that confidence. Because all it's doing, it's making you aware, right? It's making you aware of what you can do once you start practicing it. And that's that.
I was actually sitting here thinking while you were talking that it sounds to me like something that would build confidence. But as you say, you need, it's not just any chess. Like you couldn't just get a chess tutorial online. You need someone who can connect those dots in order to receive these benefits. But these benefits sound like they extend beyond just academic. I mean, this sounds like you can teach life skills.
Absolutely. It's not just the as you say, the educational benefits that you get to, you're deriving from chess. It is indeed life skills. It's about thinking before you make a move. It's about I'll make an example to you. Had a student, competitive though, this was competitive, and they were very arrogant in their nature, and nothing wrong with that, but okay, they were arrogant, and then the kid was struggling in a very important competition, and I said to them, you see, but what you are doing, you are communicating with your body language to your opponent. You communicate, you like communicating with your body language even outside chess. This is fine. It can be some advantage, but when we are talking about somebody trying to read what you know and what you don't know, you are in a big disadvantage, because when you get there, the way you flourish, the way you move in the pieces, it lets me know, okay, this person is comfortable. They know now what is happening. But once we get to a certain situation, now your body demeanor and everything changes. Now they're not so confident. Now they don't know, they are not. Do you understand? So the way so then that person, they had to learn, and you'll be surprised the transformation that they had to go through. And after working with the student for a couple of years, they actually they were a different person, to when I started with them, to at a certain point, because they understood immediately that this whole thing, thinking I'm bullying somebody, thinking that look at me, I'm so special or whatever. When you are talking about a closed, space, and somebody is talking, is looking at you, and you are talking with your actions, that can be a disadvantage. But the same can be said in terms of negotiating. You could be negotiating, it could be in business, right? You could be negotiating a deal, and if you are not well trained in terms of being able to restrain yourself, the language you're going to use, the manner in which you're going to use, the tone is going to give a lot away. So I'm just making an example of what you learn in chess, just in terms of behavior, and more importantly, it's not just a saying that says, but chess players, they really respect each other. But that is not just chess players, that is competition. Competitors respect each other, and competitors respect each other for a very simple reason. Number one, competitors understand that in order for me to improve, I need a good opponent. That is what, when you're starting out, you don't know this. You think that you just want to win. Yeah. But when you hit a plateau and you realize that I am not getting better, you start realizing I'm not getting better because I'm not playing against good opponents. You need that good opponent. You need that adversary that is going to see something, that is going to push you. When they push you, they actually are making you better. And sometimes in chess, it will sound strange, but competitive chess now. Sometimes in competitive chess, you learn. We all know you learn more from your losses than your wins, right? Everybody hates losing. You don't want to lose, but it's very, very necessary. It's a necessary process. It's a process that lets you reflect, lets you go back, and that is where the key is. You're not going to obviously improve just by losing, but now we're talking not chess, we're talking life, right? It doesn't mean that when you have a bad experience, you're going to learn from it, you're going to improve. No, but what it is that it gives you this opportunity to grow, to learn, but it is in your attitude. It's about you going back to this negative experience and trying to at the end of the day, that happens when you stop sort of being just a bystander, the passenger, the victim type of thing, It's very difficult to do, very easier said than done. But that happens when you take control. As soon as you take control and you say, okay, I'm going to now calculate what went wrong. That is the key. And you need that. So I'm saying this because, and then you start to realize that even in life, you cannot go about in life in an arrogant manner. You need the competitors. You need that. And also the important thing is not fearing defeat, and that obviously goes into life. It's the understanding that, I need to try. By me trying, I get to learn what I can do, what I can achieve. I can only learn that by trying. If I don't try, I will not know what I'm capable of and not capable of, So all of this is just an example. Yeah.
But those are all, as you say, they're excellent life skills that would apply as much to me as to the kids you work with, as to their parents even. These are all incredibly good skills to learn. And I imagine chess also teaches you self-discipline. I have no doubt.
Oh, definitely. But, the other thing is that, I'm happy that you just mentioned parents. because, you know, as parents, of course, we would like our kids to do well. We would like to give our kids the very best tools, you know, for them to be able to be the best that they can be, right? You know, but for example, you know, in chess, there are many games. We're not just talking about playing the game itself. You know, there are many games that you can play with your kid if you just know the basics of the board. You know, because the pieces they jump from square to square, and you can play what is called blindfold chess. You don't have to use all your pieces, but you could, for example, I know a game where you would take a tennis ball and maybe 3 people, and we're saying, let me make an example of what I mean. So we're going to go back to the board, and okay, let me just get rid of all these highlights that I did. And I will be talking about something briefly, still on the issue of parenting, you know, and wanting to sort of help and find games that. So for example, there's a piece in chess that moves like it's called a knight, right? So if this piece starts on B1, it will jump to C3. Okay, it moves 2 squares and 10s. It could be also 2 squares in any direction. It moves 2 squares. So when it was here, if here it could move 2 squares there, 2 squares there, 2 squares there, 2 squares there, but then it must 10. So it will move from here 2 squares that way and 10, so it will land there, right? So for example, we'd be playing this game without seeing the board, and I would say my knight starts on B1, and then it will end up on C3. Then I throw the ball to you. You catch the ball. Then you say, from C3, I will move to D5. Then you throw the ball to someone else. And someone says, from D5, I will move to F6. So the first person, and you realize, no, D5, F6. But remember, we would be playing this game without the board. Okay, we'll be doing all of this without the board. We'll be having to visualize. It's a game, it's fun, and whoever gets it wrong is out. You know, and then the person who does that is the ultimate winner of the game, you know, or the squares, you know, H1 is a white square, E5 is E5 white to black, you know, who can guess this? But it's not just about guessing it, but also I want the methodology that you used to find E5, things like that. So what I'm trying to say, yeah, you know, on the, as parents, obviously, one does want to be involved. And, you know, chess does give one a very big opportunity to sort of get involved and ask some questions, but in a very gamey atmosphere, you know, in an atmosphere where everyone is playing. Yeah.
So can you give me a bit more information about the academy and your role there, and what's offered and what parents can expect?
Yeah, so the Blue Pathway Academy is basically an idea of, which is why I work with them. It's a very nice idea. The idea is, more than anything, for me, in a nutshell, it's to try and minimize costs for specific expertise that you may not have been maybe otherwise have had the opportunity to afford, you know, because we're talking about a situation where you'll have expert teachers, so to speak, you know, but remember, you know, when you are coming in there, you could come in as a group. So it in such a way it becomes affordable. So it gives everybody a chance, you know, to learn and work on whatever that they feel they should be working on. And so for me, yeah, this was for me the selling point, you know, why I decided to work with them. And so it's a very easy process. I mean, you go to their website and whichever course that you would like, and you would enroll. But more importantly, it's not just about just enrolling for a course. You know exactly what is going to be talked about. So depending on your level, if you don't know anything about, okay, I'm just going to use chess because I'm in chess. If you don't know anything about chess, you would go to the beginner course. But even in the beginner course, you would say, okay, well, first let's try to see, let's do this, and then you can do that. So it I think it caters for everyone, and it is very, very affordable. Yeah. So it's a great idea.
I think so too. It was great chatting to you. Thank you so much. I feel like I learned so much today about chess and how it can be applied to life. And I hope that we'll have another discussion one day soon.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.